Fractions with different denominators. In the last lesson, we learned how to add fractions that had the same denominators, which means that the bottom numbers were the same. So for example, 1/2 plus 1/2. Since you have the same denominators, we can just add the numerators. So you add the 1 plus 1 to get 2/2. And then from there, we can simplify. Well, 2 over 2 is the same thing as 1. Another example of that could be 1/4 plus 2/4. Since you have the same denominators, you can add the numerators. So 1 plus 2 will give you 3/4. Now, if we have something where we have different denominators, then we actually can't add them until we change one or both of the fractions so they have the same denominator. So an example we could use could be 1/2 plus 2/3. Okay, in this example, they have different denominators, so we can't add the numerators until we change them to have the same denominator. And the easiest way to explain this is we need to find the least common multiple of the denominators. So the least common multiple. So what numbers do both 2 and 3 go into? Well, you could list out the multiples of 2 and 3. If you listed out the multiples of 2, it would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and you could keep going. Or the multiples of 3 could be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and you can keep going there as well. And then when we look at the multiples, we notice that the smallest one that they have in common is a 6. Both 2 and 3 go into 6. So we can change 1/2 so that it has a 6 on the bottom. And the way we do that is, well, how many times do we have to multiply 2 by to get to a 6? Well, we have to multiply it by 3. And we're going to do the same thing to the top. That's one thing with fractions. If you change the bottom, you have to change the top by the same multiple. So 2 times 3 will give us 6. And 3 times 1 will give us 3. So 1/2 is equivalent to 3/6. Okay. Now let's do the same thing to the 2/3. We need to change the 3 to a 6. And the way we do that, 2/3, to change the 3 to a 6, you have to multiply it by 2. And you have to do the same thing to the top. So 2 times 2 will give you 4. And then you'll get your 6 on the bottom. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, now we have two fractions with the same denominator, so we can add those together. So now you can add 3/6 plus 4/6, and you'll get 7/6. Okay, so once you have the denominators the same, just add the numerators, leave the denominator the same. You're not going to add those together. So you'll get 7/6, and now this is an improper fraction, so we're going to have to reduce that. 7/6, well, 7 is the same thing as 6 plus 1, which is the same thing as 6 over 6 plus 1 over 6, which is the same thing as, well, 6 over 6 is 1, and you have 1/6 left over. Okay, that's one way to do that. Some people find that a little bit complicated. So another way to change 7/6, here, let's do that in a different color. Another way to change 7/6 is to simply divide the top by the bottom. So 7 divided by 6. 7 divided by 6. And 6 goes into 7 once, with the leftover of 1/6. So 1 and 1/6. So either way, you'll get 1 and 1/6. Okay, that's an example of how to add fractions with different denominators. Let's do one more example. And we have some room off to the side here. So let's kind of mark that off. And we'll add, let's do an easy one. 1/3 plus 1/9. Okay, 1/3 plus 1/9. Now they have different denominators, but you'll notice a 3 can go into a 9. So the least common multiple of 3 and 9 is actually going to be 9. So we don't have to change the 1/9 at all. That can stay the same. So all we need to do is change the 1/3 so that it has a 9 on the bottom. So 1/3, and all you have to do to change a 3 into a 9 is multiply it by 3. So do the same thing to the top, and you'll get 3/9, because 1 times 3 is 3, and 3 times 3 is 9. So you'll get 3/9. And now we can add 3/9 plus 1/9. So 3/9 plus 1/9. And that'll give us 4/9. Now this is already reduced. We can't reduce it anymore, so we're done. Okay, I hope this is starting to make a little bit of sense. In the next video, we'll go over some more examples, and we'll throw in some subtraction problems as well. So we'll do some addition and some subtraction.